When taking the reading test, there are some things that you can do to help you be more successful on the STAR. This is the general layout when you go into the reading test. We have the passage over here, we have the questions over here. Well, we want to be able to see as much of the reading space as we can. So one of the first things I do is I come up here and I click on this expand button. And now it allows me to have a full reading page while I'm reading the text or the selection. Okay, when I'm reading, I want to notice some things as I go through. I want to notice that I've got numbers over here because I'm going to come back in my questions and refer to those numbers so that it takes me to the correct place in the story. Okay, I also know that some of the times I need a little bit of help tracking where I'm at. Up here is the line reader. I can click on the line reader. See this blue line right here? Now I can use my arrow keys, and as I'm reading each line, I can arrow through, use my arrow keys to be able to help keep me in place with reading on the screen. Because some of the times when our eyes get tired, it's hard to follow the straight line across on the screen. So this can just help keep us focused. Okay, I also know that some of the times I want to highlight things like, oh, Petri dishes. I think I know what that is, but I'm not sure. So I can come up here and I can highlight Petri dishes. Okay, now I can go here to this pull down menu and I can say highlight that because that's something that I want to make sure that I come back to or that I reference or that I think is an important word. For whatever reason you want to highlight it, you can. Okay, and now I can come down here and I can say, what else am I noticing? Oh, well, here is a word that I may need, but it's not because I think it's as important as a Petri dish, so I might want to highlight that in a different color. So I can go through the test, okay, and I remember, oh, you know that thought that pops into your head as you're testing, and I remember that my teacher told me, always be sure to read the full text, okay? So I can save that because that's going to remind me that I'm supposed to be able to do that. All right, so now I'm reading the story, and I go through and I notice down here there's a 1 because this gives me the definition of agar. Agar. Science teachers, please forgive me for my pronunciation. So even if I miss that up here in the story, I know that that's an important word that I remember. So, oh, look, here is agar, and I'm going to highlight that because they actually define that for me in the story. Now, your reading teacher has told you different things to highlight, different reasons to highlight it. I'm just simply showing you the highlight tool. Okay, I have showed you the line reader tool and how to use the line reader tool using your arrow keys. Okay, now some of the times I want to look at things a little bit closer. I can use my zoom out and zoom in tools. And for some reason, I want to really look at this picture to see what those Petri dishes are. I can get it real big so that I can see what they're talking about when they're talking about the Petri dishes. And then I can go back to normal. Okay, there's my notepad. And I can now look at my questions. Now, when I look at my questions, there's some things that I can do over here as well. It says, which phrase from paragraph 5? Phrase? I'm not sure I know what phrase is. Up here is the dictionary. I can click on the dictionary, and down here I can type in the word phrase and have it define phrase for me. I can use the dictionary anywhere. I can use it over here. I could have looked up any of the words in my story if I didn't know what experiment was. I can type in the word experiment and it'll give me the definition. So that little dictionary icon right there, I can use it anytime. Okay, now you notice on here, I also have a pull down menu. On this pull down menu, I have mark for review, sticky notes, strike through, or highlight. And so, I'm really not sure about this question. My mind is wandering, so I'm not really focused. So I am going to mark this question for review. You see how it kind of folded down the corner of the question? So now when I go to my list of question numbers, that's going to tell me that that one's marked for review. Okay, I can do sticky notes. And you're thinking to yourself, well, wait a minute. You just did notepads. This is sticky notes. Sticky notes is about this question, this right here, and that's it. And I want to remind myself, go back to paragraph 5. Okay. So I'm going to save that sticky note and see it right there. That's my sticky note for this question. That tells me that this has been marked for review. Okay, so I'm not sure what the answer is. I've marked it. I'm going to come back. So now I go to question number 2. When I go to question number 2, you see that my text selection stays with the question because all of these questions apply to this selection that we had to read. So it's really important that we read it first. When I'm here, I don't have any of those marks because I haven't flagged it. And that sticky note, just like if you put a sticky note in a page, that sticky note stays on that page. So that sticky note stays with that question. But my notepad stays with me throughout the entire test. So I can put my reminders in here. And now I can save that. And then when I answer this, I select my answer. I can go on to the next question. Okay, see the little check mark up here? That says I have answered that question. On question number 3, I've gone back and I've reviewed my selection. I'm looking for my question. And I'm like, some of them are pretty close. So I'm going to use my strike through option. And I'm going to say, I know it's definitely not this one. I know it's definitely not that one. And so now I'm down to just 2 options for me to think about. So I can use my strikeout to help me focus. Go to the next question. Look, I've got this one answered. I've got this one answered. I've got this one flagged. My notepad is still there. I can now use my line reader. And I can come back over here and I can say, oh, it needs me to go to the end of the story. So let me go to the end. And right about here is where I need to start focusing in on what the question is. Here, when I have got my sticky notes, I can create another sticky note here. And you see right there, and this sticky note is different than this sticky note that I made for question number 1. Okay? All right. Is there any questions? Be sure and ask your teacher.